I love getting to talk about awesome books. This book, The Troop by Nick Cutter, I uh, I had the physical version, but there is a guy I work with who was going on a trip, has a long plane flight, and needed a recommendation. And I was in the middle of reading this, so today I just flew through the end of this thing, so I literally finished it like within the last couple of minutes of work. Like here you go, take it, read it. It's awesome. I did read it a couple years ago, about 2.5 years ago, and absolutely loved it. It was one of those where you just got done and it's like, man, this is just like the perfect book. So what is it about? And we're gonna do no spoilers first, and then jump into spoilers later. This book is about a Boy Scout troop. There are 5 boys who are 14 years old. They go off to this island because they live on this coastal town. There's just this small coastal town, Prince Edward Island, up in Canada, and they're going to this smaller island, which is close enough that you can take a small boat there, but it's far enough away from the mainland that you can't swim. So when they go out there, it's just them for a couple days until that guy who dropped them off comes back in a couple days to pick them up. It's just them out there. They do have a radio, but no cell phones or anything like that. You're on your own. Now, these 5 boys, it's a mixed group of characters. You've got one who is the police chief's son, and he's kind of like your arrogant, cocky jock, kind of bully guy, the big, tall kid who everybody listens to, and he pushes people around because he knows he can. You've got the kind of chubby nerd that he's just the pincushion, right? Everybody just picks on him and makes jokes about him because, he's the easy target. You've got 2 of the kids who've been best friends for life, and they just work really well together. One of them's got a bit of an anger issue, and one seems kind of normal. And then you've got the 5th kid who is quiet on purpose. And there's kind of a dark side to this kid. He's got some issues. And then you've got the scoutmaster, 42-year-old guy who is the town's medical doctor. So they're all going out there, just going to spend a few days, do their scouting stuff, and head back. But the first night they're out there, the boys are asleep, Scoutmaster's up a little late. He hears the motor of a boat approaching the island. He goes outside, he sees this boat approaching with just one guy in there, goes out and greets him, and the guy is just like, I am so hungry. I'm so hungry. And the Scoutmaster's like, you don't look so good. Okay, so he invites him in to the cabin, gives him some stuff to eat, and the guy eats and 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 even starts to eat like the stuffing out of the chair that he's sitting in. Yeah. So what is going on with this guy? Let me give you a hint. Nothing good. Nothing good. Whatever's going on with this guy slowly starts to affect the people he's around. Our Scoutmaster, our boys, and this is a book. This is survival horror at the most horrorist. How do you say it? The most horrific. I couldn't think of the word. This book is graphic. It is gory. It is hard to read sometimes. What's going on? There are a few bits of animal cruelty that are not so pleasant to read. One you can skip. One you should push through because it's just what the people are going through. And it's just good to read that. It's just so you can feel their situation even more. And the best part about this book, whereas it is gory and dramatic, and man, there's a lot of crazy feelings. It's one of those stories where kids, 14-year-olds, have to start making adult decisions, but they're trying to do what adults would do, but they're still kids. They're gonna mess up. They're gonna, I'm going to say they're going to let egos and whatever get in the way. But even adults, after a certain amount of time, you start getting emotional and you don't think straight, and it just makes things worse. But what's really great about this book is how the author puts you in these settings, and the way he describes how things not only look, but how they sound, how things smell, how a room smells. It really puts you right there. Like, I remember for the first time reading this thing, it's like, man, I just feel like I'm standing right there. Anytime there's a weird sound, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on and sounds he tries to explain. He puts the sound effects in the book, but it gets like he'll describe it. It sounded like Vaseline on a rope being pulled through a tight grip. And you're like, okay, I can kind of imagine that. Same with the smells. It smells like burnt cotton candy in an late autumn festival or something. You're like, okay, I can kind of get a whiff of that. And so everything that happens is just so, man, you can just feel it and taste it and hear it and imagine that you can see it, and it's just so nasty. And oh my goodness, this book is not for the weak-hearted. The what was it? If you got stomach issues or you get all queasy, trust me, there's part of it too where I'm just reading them like, yeah, oh, come on. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. But it just makes it that much more believable and realistic. And yeah, it's one of the best books I've ever read. Not only for what it is, what's going on in the story, but just the feeling that you are there experiencing this. The one complaint I have, the one thing that makes this book a 99 out of 100 instead of a 100, there's this thing he does. At the end of each chapter, he puts in something that's like going on in the outside world. So all these boys are on the island. They have no contact with whatever's going on outside of the island with their scoutmaster there too. They're trying to figure out what's up with this guy and what they can do. But he gives you snippets of like news articles, police depositions, um, oh, journals, diaries that start plugging in the holes for us. So you can start figuring out or being told what exactly is going on. And while that's good to know, part of me, especially the first time I read it, I was just like, oh no, I don't want to know this. Like, I want to be in the same mindset and position that the boys are. I don't want to know, have clues or understand what's going on. I want to be horrified by what's going on, not know what's going on, wonder what's going to happen next, just like the boys. But as you start getting more and more information, then you kind of understand. And while the boys are freaking out, and their scoutmaster's like, I don't know what the heck we're gonna do, and you're like, well, it's this, and okay, well now I know it's this. Eh, the first time I read it, I wish I didn't have that. Obviously, the second time reading it, and you kind of know already, you're just like, all right, it didn't bother me so much. So I don't know. You let me know. You go read it and tell me. Heck, skip those parts at the end of the chapters. Just it's a deposition. I'm not going to read that. I don't want to know what's going on. I would love to go back and have my first try and skip all that and just go along with the boys, and then maybe go back and read all those little segments to be like, oh, okay, okay. But yeah, this book is great. If you love horror, if you love survival horror, people being trapped somewhere and having to, figure out what's going on and how to survive, it's perfect. I loved it so, so much. I think we're going to go into spoilers then. Read this book. Read this book. Read it, read it, read it. If you don't like it, please feel free to come back in the comments and tell me I'm an idiot. But I think this book is awesome. I just gave it to this guy. I hope he likes it. This is one of those books that I'm so confident about. Like, if someone's like, I don't know, and it's like, I will buy them a copy and give it to them because it's just so awesome. So go read it. Come back for the spoiler part because we are doing spoilers right now. Okay, so let's jump into this. Let me look at my notes. We got the guy who comes up. I'm trying to figure out that once you get infected, it starts messing with your mind in ways that it's your mind, but maybe exaggerated, because Tim, once he gets infected, he starts getting that Hal voice, right? He gets that talking to him. And I think some of the other boys, they start having like their thoughts exaggerated, or how they speak or act exaggerated, and you kind of peek and it's like, oh, that's probably the worms messing with their head, but then them not knowing it's quite messing with them yet. Like when he's operating on that dude and he's just like trying not to snap at Max and stuff, and you're like, yeah, they're getting to you. Later we find out it's because it wraps around your brainstem or something, which is supposed to calm you down. but it doesn't seem to actually do that. It really seems to really freak people out with their thoughts. I don't know. Just something I was thinking of. So they lock him in the closet, and we see the same thing with Tim that we do with Kent. That kind of like, the strong, hey, listen to me, boys, listen to this. Kent, you guys do what I do. But as soon as they get how many hours into being infected and they start losing their sense of their how to say, their willingness to fight or argue or put up a fight, and when they get told what to do, it's like, you're gonna sit here, and they're just like, okay, okay, can I just have something to eat? That didn't happen to Shelly. I don't know. They happened to the other two. I don't know why it didn't really feel like it happened with Shelly. Shelly is so messed up. It's like he was welcoming the stuff, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna be an awesome daddy, the world's best dad. And when the other two boys start going into the cave, and he hears them coming, and he's like, oh, they could be good daddies too. Yeah, we'll just all be daddies together. And you're like, oh, this kid is so messed up. All that little stuff with him, like the crayfish and popping its eyes, and then the beetles he was messing with. Oh, the cat though, the cat in the bathtub. That's one of those rough parts. Yeah, Shelly is a messed up dude, and you're like, what? Serial killer material. We've all seen enough documentaries to know is like serial killer right there. So Shelly was interesting. I thought it was weird. I guess maybe each boy only had one story like this, but how many stories of like terrible things that happened in their life? Who was it? Max with the was it Max or Ephraim with the birds in his house that the bird kept coming back and it broke its neck trying to pluck that stuff away because its wife and kids were in there. And I guess maybe it was Max with the dude in the cherry picker that got zapped. What else happened? There was other bad stuff that went on with people in their past, and you're like, what kind of past did these kids have? They're just unlucky and somehow all got put together with these experiences behind them. I do like the part where they get those helicopters flying over, and Shelly had noticed the boats out there, but then when that cigar boat comes flying up, and you're like, oh, here we go, somebody's gonna be seen or rescue them or something, but no, the military boats show up, jump on there, pull them off, and then blow the boat up, and you're like, oh man, what in the world is going on? But then it all really starts getting screwed up when the boys go out. Who is it? Eve, Max, and Newt. Kent is infected. He's all messed up. He's down in the cellar. And then Shelly just kind of goes off by himself. He starts doing his planner. He's like, I can start having fun. And he starts messing with Kent. And he's like, hey, this is a tenderloin. These are this, and this. And you're just like, oh man, this dude is so screwed up. And then when he takes him out or lures him out down to the water and drowns him just like he did the cat, again with the imagery and just all the stuff like the bubbles coming up and the worms trying to get out and stuff, and you're just like, oh man. And or like the petting, like he's like right here next to him, just like said he was like petting him like you would a dog, looking him right in the face. And he's like that perfect example of what, flying too close to the sun, and the worms got to him, and now he's infected, and he just has that, while he's what, kind of freaked out at the beginning, but then he just welcomes it, and he's just like, that's right, come to me. It's like, we're gonna have fun with this. I am your god now. But just what a messed up dude. Then they go out there with the sea turtle, and I remember the first time reading that, and that sea turtle scene was so bad. This one is one of those scenes with where he's giving the description of the sounds. The sounds he talked about, like the hissing sound from the holes in its chest, like its organs were just like pushing out air, the kind of snap or that weird. And it said, they even said when it was hiding in its shell and it kind of cried like a baby. You're like, oh man. And you just felt, he was crying while he was doing it, and then they ended up burying it, and you're like, man, I don't know what I would do, man. You're just stabbing it and it doesn't die, and they ended up burying it, and you're like, all right, you're good kids, right? You didn't want to do this, and it turned out all wrong. And then when they find the babies and they get those things out there, and like, we did our good deed, and you're like, oh, it's just rough, absolutely rough. Now, did Eve have the worms? We know Shelley planted that idea in his head. He's like, oh yeah, I could see him, or I saw this in here under your fingernail or whatever. Because the boys, when they came back, and he kept telling them they're in me or da 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 da, and they didn't quite believe him. He looked fine. He looked just the same as the others did with the amount of food they had in a couple days. But he's like, they're in me, because didn't, when he was alone, he like poked into his leg or something, like pulled one out or stuff, or was he just imagining that? I don't know. So I don't know what to think about that unless I missed something or read something too fast. You tell me. Did Eve have worms? Or was he just being screwed with by Shelley? And then when they come back and, man, Shelley, I forget what the boys do, where they go down looking for the spark plugs or something. And he goes around and he's like, the way he talks to people, like, it's going to be okay. No, it's all right. You just stick the knife in there a little bit. Yeah, make a cut like this. You know what we should do? I bet we could burn them out of you. Yeah, just wait here. Let me go get some. We'll just burn them out. And he's like, thank you. Thank you, Shelley. You're my best friend. And diddle diddle diddle. And that the wording, that chapter ends, and it's just like, when they came back around to the cabin, Ephraim was a pillar of fire. You're just like, oh, man, that was another gruesome scene. It happened kind of fast, though. It went by pretty quick, and he just goes up in flames. They wrap him up, and then he's like, his knee was like welded to his head and stuff. And you're just like, oh, nasty stuff. And then, of course, the big nasty, when they go to that cave. They got their flashlight and they go down there and it reveals what Shelley is, which he turns pretty fast. Because it wasn't days for him. I think it was what, maybe less than 24 hours, and he's already, what it says, like the skin is basically, oh, what did he say? It was like something just wrapped onto, like the Christmas wrapping on the trombone. You can see clearly that it's a trombone, and his skin was just the wrapping around the bones. And you try to imagine, and they talk about their fingers a lot too. Their fingers just talking into spindly things, and trying to imagine just basically bones, just bones with a layer of skin, and then that gut swinging about with all the worms inside his gut. Ah, it's nasty, nasty stuff. And you knew once he kind of collapsed and gooed all over Newton there, you're like, you're done, you're done. So we get out. The last part I wasn't sure about. When they get on the boat, they finally get out on the boat. Of course, they go up to that ship, and he's like, Newt, don't say it, don't say it. He's like, I am so. He's like, don't say it, Newt, don't say it. I am so hungry. Bang! Hole through the neck, goes down, bubbles coming out of the holes. And then it says that Max looked down to the red dot on his chest. Now, I didn't think about this until later. I just saw red dot on his chest. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe that was like he didn't register getting shot, but now he's seeing like just a circle of blood. That's how I took it. And then later, like, okay, it's just the laser pointer on the stuff. So yeah, I thought he was gone for a bit until we get the part where he's not. But then he goes back out. That hunger. I remember it when the first time I read it that they just said, and I had remembered only one boy being in the boat and saying like, just like, I'm so hungry, and I thought it ended. So I had totally forgotten that there were two of them. One of them actually got shot. But then he goes back out into the water after they talk about his life and nobody wants to be around him and everybody's scared to touch him. He goes back out towards that towards the island, and as he gets closer, he can feel that hunger in his stomach. Creepy stuff. It's almost like there could be a sequel, but I don't know what you would do with it. It had to, all the wormy stuff had to have gotten into the water, right? With Kent dying out there, and then what's his face? Newton falling into the water. I missed it. Did they? Because they had talked about napalming the island and putting all that stuff in the water. Did they do that? Did I miss that? Because you think if they did that, there would be nothing to go back to when Max is going out there later, if they napalmed it. So I don't know. I don't know. But it's one I just love. Love that story. And I read it. It took a few days to read, but like I said, today I was in a hurry to read it to give it to my buddy. And I read like 130 pages today. It's a quick read. Really quick read. I guess you know because you read it. Did you read it pretty fast? I think it didn't quite get me as much this time because I kind of read it for a little bit, like the first half, in just like little chunks, like 20, 30 pages here, 20, 30 pages here. Whereas I read it the first time in like the big chunks, you can really sink yourself down into it for, an hour, hour and a half. And man, this would be a great one to have a movie. I would love to see a movie about this book. It would be horrifying. Anywho, comment down below what you thought. Have you read some of Nick Cutter's other books? I did a review on Little Heaven. Doesn't compare to this one, but he's got the other one, The Deep, and I think there's something else he has out there. But comment about this one, about his other works. Like and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you next time.